Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Cousin
Connection
Podcast.
You know, actually, last week we messed up. That we didn't realize that we didn't say podcast at the same time. We just kind of went into it. Or was that 2 weeks ago? I can't remember what it was. I think it was last week.
I think it was last week.
Yeah.
You know why?
Because we just did like a cold
like
open. It was like whatever open.
Yeah. Hi, guys. I don't know why, but it feels like it's been a while since we've recorded.
Not really. Why is your laptop right in the middle?
I don't know. So that we can... Because you said
I
you
guess
never looked
so.
at it.
Yeah.
I was trying to be accommodating to you.
I guess so, but now they can't see the bottom half of us.
Oh, should I just...
No, it's okay. Go ahead. You're good. You're good. Just leave it. Yeah.
Should we talk about what we did yesterday?
Why are you so loud? For once, you're actually louder.
I know.
Let me fix this real quick.
My bad. So by the way, guys, yesterday.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say it? Yeah, I mean, we posted it on our Instagram.
What was yesterday? Oh, yeah. Shoot. I forgot completely.
So we recorded with our friends, Huddle Talk TV, the guys at Huddle Talk, Khalid and Nick. And first of all, we were just like in awe of their studio, their equipment, all that. It was like so sick. And they're going to be releasing that episode. I don't know when.
Sometime in the future. We don't know exactly.
Just subscribe to their channel.
Yeah.
Look out for it. But I noticed that, like, I don't know if you could tell on the headphones, like whenever we were all really loud or we would laugh, like the sound would be like quieter. Like it would almost like prevent it from being clipped.
Oh yeah, that's what better equipment does, right? It avoids clipping, unfortunately.
But I found that annoying.
Why?
Because it like would go quiet when we're all like dying of laughter.
Yeah, you don't want it to clip. Like when we're talking now, it's not clipping. But when I go like this, then it starts clipping. Exactly.
God,
sorry
so
for whoever
loud.
was listening.
That was so loud.
Sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. That's why every once in a while you hear me talking about, oh, your gain is high, blah, blah, blah. It's because like just audio equipment, depending on how much you're paying for it, it requires you, for cheaper audio equipment, you can still make it sound professional, but it's going to require a lot more input from the user. Like you're going to have to figure out like the levels more. You're going to have to play with the gain more. You're going to have to figure out a lot more. But some equipment that's like high end, it doesn't take as much setup, or at least it's more forgiving.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
I mean, I personally, and I might be biased, but I feel like our quality is great.
Yeah, our quality is good. Yeah. Because, I got a pro here. I'm just saying, man,
Our sound engineer.
Exactly.
But before we get into this week's episode, you guys know the drill. We are actually so close to 2K. I feel like by the time this episode goes live, we're probably going to hit it. We're at like 1.99.
Like 1.997.
We're 10 subscribers away.
Yeah.
Like literally
3.
this time. No, 10.
I checked. It was like 3 away.
We're actually 3 away now?
Think
this
so.
morning when I checked, we were 10 away.
One
literally one subscriber
away from getting to 2,000. So whoever wants to be that lucky subscriber, we're not going to give you anything, but you could be.
So yeah, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Subscribe to the channel. We're going to be putting up more shorts. And can I actually talk about that for a second? We're going to put up more shorts on YouTube because recently they put out a statement saying, we're going to start, supporting our people who are putting out shorts. So we're like, why not put out some shorts? Because I feel like the people on YouTube, like I'm assuming that a lot of them do follow us on the other socials. So they probably see a lot of our clips on either TikTok or Instagram. But if you don't, or maybe you spend more time on YouTube, now you'll be able to see those clips that we take from each episode and see them on YouTube instead of having to go to those other platforms. And actually, I prefer them to go to YouTube because I feel like YouTube is the most like, it'll give us...
That's where we get paid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Literally.
And it also like I feel like YouTube now is pushing for it, so we get a lot more engagement there.
They have like a shorts page. It looks just like
TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah. And funny enough, like our not first, but like we posted maybe 1 or 2 shorts before just playing around with it. But recently, like we actually try to do it regularly. The first one I post, of course, has to be like the most controversial one. If you listen to last week's episode, then you know that we talked a little bit about like the Little Mermaid situation, and we spoke about representation and like whether the color matters. And to a lot of people in the comments of that short, the color did matter a lot.
I was reading it and I was like when Amir told me like, it's not doing so great. I was like, oh
no, it was doing good views wise,
but like the reaction, I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people were salty. Some people tried to argue that The Little Mermaid was race based, like the original story, which I've never heard that before. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But yeah, you know, it's interesting.
Well, like the thing is, because I know how YouTube works
Yeah.
and how YouTube culture around comments works, I wasn't really surprised, because the thing about YouTube is that for the most part, people who like content and like are, depending on the community, of course, but the people who like content generally don't leave comments. They'll probably like it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. And just watch the video and enjoy it as it is. But the people who are usually the most vocal, the ones who are leaving the comments, are usually the ones who have like really, especially if it's an opinionated post or video, they're the most likely to actually put in a comment and say something to counter your point, or to just, you know, say whatever's on their mind, whether it be most likely being negative.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just what YouTube culture has kind of become over time. Of course, you'll find a lot of communities, especially I find it more like on women's pages, and especially like in the beauty / lifestyle community, you'll find a lot of those because of Gizman, of course. Because Aisha, I mean. You'll find a lot more positive comments, but that's just, I think, unique to that community.
I actually like watch a lot of people like in terms of makeup, skincare, whatever.
Okay, go ahead. I
was just gonna say it could go either way.
Okay. Let me preface this. I feel like it's for any video that has an opinion in it, in a controversial opinion at that.
Actually, on that note, there is this one really big like beauty influencer on TikTok. I cannot remember her name, but she has like a really strong like Jersey accent, and that's how she that was one of the most distinct features that she had that made her popular. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know anything about that community except for my sister. Oh,
okay. I'll show you it afterwards, and I'll send it to Amir so that we can include the clip here. But so I think like it was an old TikTok live that she did, and someone recorded it, and it resurfaced again, where she basically was complaining about how exhausting it is to be a social media influencer, and how she like finished work at 5:19 p.m. And so she was like
5 or whatever. Okay,
so she was like complaining about it, and then that resurfaced. It kind of blew up and went viral, and now like if you go through her most recent videos, everyone's commenting like, oh, you must be working so hard. Girl, it's 5:19. You better clock out. Like they're like mocking her even. So it's like interesting to see that. Like that's why I was saying like with the beauty community, it could go either way. And she was just expressing her opinion. So I guess you're right. Like when it comes to expressing your opinion, because it sounded really tone deaf. Like there are a lot of people who their regular job is like a 9 to 5 or whatever. Like, you know, if they're working night shifts or just a normal job, and they're getting severely underpaid, whereas we know that a lot of the bigger influencers, like they make money. That's their livelihood. So people are like, I don't know if canceling her is the term, because I don't think cancel culture is in anymore, but they're almost like mocking her in the comments. It's very interesting to see.
No,
but it's
on the internet, if someone feels like you're in a privileged position, you have no room to show any weakness or like any type of like what do you call it, exhaustion? Not even exhaustion. What is that? I don't know what the word is, but you can't show
ungratefulness.
Not even ungratefulness, but you can't show any type of like
you can't complain about the job.
Yeah, essentially you can't complain. Like no, even if your complaints are warranted, like maybe you are being overworked, or you feel like you're being what is it when people like drain themselves? Why am I losing my words right now? Burnt out. Yeah, even when you're feeling burnt out, like in that case, even then you shouldn't speak out about it, because the internet will not give you any leeway at all if they feel like you're in a privileged position.
I think there's a way to go about it, because at the end of the day, no matter what you do, a job is a job. And if you're working long hours or you're putting in a lot of effort, you're going to be tired. Obviously, some jobs are a lot more physically taxing, like if you're doing physical labor, or if you're working in healthcare. Like there are different jobs that are more exhausting, but like if you're doing, you know, a desk job that's 9 to 5 where you're not actually moving, it's like mentally exhausting.
Yeah.
You know, so it's...
Oh, was it? Did you say she had a desk job or she
No,
had...
she's an influencer.
Okay, influencer. Okay, Just
yeah.
sure.
But people were getting upset that she was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so tired. I finished at 5:19.
Yeah.
I think because being a content creator can be exhausting, right? Because especially if you're not outsourcing your tasks, like for your shooting, so you're the talent, but then you also have to edit it. Then you have to come up with the marketing, which is like actually posting it and all of that. So it can be exhausting. I think there's just a way to go about complaining about it.
Yeah, okay, I do agree with that. There is a way to go about it, because now that I'm thinking about it, there have been cases where YouTubers came out saying that they're burnt out.
Yeah.
And it also depends on your audience, or like whoever that culture you've built up in your own community on what the reaction is going to be, right?
I feel like the more OG YouTubers, like way back when, remember they would take breaks and stuff. They would just, especially like daily vloggers, they would take breaks, recuperate their energy, and then come back and have fresh new content. Yeah.
And they also had stronger communities, because the OG YouTubers, I feel like their communities grew up with them. So like they feel more attached to them as a person. So whenever they do express some type of negative feelings, whether it be burnt out or something, they're more willing to be like, okay, you know, we understand.
Right.
But if you're like a newer influencer who hasn't, especially like in the TikTok realm now, because the audiences are always like shifting, and it's I don't feel like it's very like for a lot of those, when I'm using TikTok specifically, like their audience isn't as loyal to them as they used to be. So if they do show that type of like same complaints, the reaction is very different. Yeah,
that I agree with. And we've addressed that before. We've talked about like the VidCon experience.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I feel like you are better at summarizing, but I'm gonna give the Spark Notes version. Amir can fill in the gaps. From what I've read and done my research on, I think you pronounce her name Mahsa Amini.
I'll say yes.
Okay.
All
right. So there was a 22-year-old girl in Iran who was basically beaten to death by, I don't know if it's the police or it's like the...
You jumped way ahead there, man. You want me
but I was going to say why she got... why that happened.
Go.
She was beaten to death because she was fighting for her right to not wear the hijab.
Or to not wear it properly, I think. Or like she wasn't wearing it properly, or I can't remember exactly what the case was. Yeah,
so in Iran is a Muslim country, and part of the rules of that country is that women have to be covered head to toe. And so she wasn't wearing it completely, or she like had some of her hair or neck showing. I can't remember. And so she was beaten to death by the patrol, the people that go around the city to ensure that women are abiding by this law. And that has sparked an outrage within the Muslim community. I'm not really sure if the non-Muslim community has kicked in yet, but I have seen it on mostly Muslim influencers, like on social media. I'm not going to state my opinion yet because I kind of want to know yours first.
Well, to give even a little bit more detail, like they have essentially like, what are in the comments? What do you call them again?
Haters?
No, those people who like...
Haram police?
Yeah, they have literally haram police.
Oh.
In
You mean like
in Iran, they literally have haram police, like people who go around the street, and if they see you doing something outside of Islam, like something they perceive as haram, then they will call you out for it, and they could arrest you for it. I think they have similar things in like Dubai and a lot of other
I didn't know Dubai
Emirati countries. That. Of course, this one's not in Emirates, but like that, just to give you an example. And they, came up to her and they told her that, and then she, of course, resisted, and then they took her and they like slammed her against the car to arrest her, and they like threw her in the car, and then from that head injury, she later went to the hospital, and in the hospital is where she passed away. So she wasn't like...
so she wasn't beaten to death.
She technically was still alive until she got to the hospital, and because of the head injury from being hit against the vehicle, that's when and they did hit her in the head with a baton. Yeah. So those are a little bit more details. Exactly. So definitely not a response that should be coming from someone who's supposed to be upholding the rules of Islam.
Are the patrol, or I don't know if we want to call them Haram police throughout the whole episode, but like, are they instructed to kill people when
No, I believe it's just they went too far with the situation. And this is actually, I've seen a few videos as well. Like, this is just not only the Haram police, but there are a lot of people who are representing themselves as sheikhs on the street, and they will actively, like, in the comments, how they'll say things like these people are literally doing in person. They will go up to women and start chastising them for whatever they're doing. If they're getting too close to someone, if they're walking and their ankle shows, if they're and like the wind blows their hijab in a certain way, or they're just not wearing it in general, the sheikhs will literally come up to them and start chastising them for it and berating them. No matter where they are. I've seen videos in subways. I've seen videos.
This is only in Muslim countries, though, right?
This is in Iran specifically.
Okay.
In Iran, they just have a lot of sheikhs just walking the streets, and these guys will come up and just start chastising these women and shouting at them. And in this case, she was actually beaten and eventually passed away because of it.
So, like, to even share our opinion on this, it's a little bit... Okay. Let me start by saying this. We absolutely do not condone, like, murder. Like, I don't even know how to phrase it, but like, to kill someone because they're not following the correct rules of Islam, we don't condone that. That being said, I know that a lot of people are kind of rallying behind the whole like freedom of choice thing. Now, in Islam, where Muslims are obligated to forbid the unlawful, so we're supposed to, remind each other not to commit sins and to do the good deeds. That's fact. Like, no one's gonna say that you don't do that. That being said, we don't force it on anyone. You don't force your beliefs. You don't force the rules of the religion on anyone. If someone chooses to not follow the rules of the religion, that's on them. You do you, they do them. But to kill someone because they don't wear the hijab properly, the last time I checked, killing a Muslim is a much greater sin than not wearing your hijab properly. So, and it's crazy because when you think about it, like, if you kind of step back and look at the bigger picture, there are other Muslims in other countries who are fighting for their right to wear the hijab.
Yeah.
People in India the Muslims in India who are suffering because they're literally being murdered and beaten and arrested for practicing their religion. The women in France who there's a hijab ban. I'm pretty sure it's still going on in Montreal too, here in Canada.
Yeah.
Like, the contrast is so, like, it's very sad to see that there are two very opposite ends of the spectrum, like from the Muslim countries and then the non-Muslim countries.
Yeah, it all comes down to like the women's right to choose. Yeah. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like, to be able to make that choice themselves, they should be able to make that choice themselves.
Right. Like, forbid the sins. Like, you can remind your Muslim brothers and sisters not to commit sins. You can remind them to do good deeds. But to force someone, that's taking it a little too far.
Yeah. And even the act of forbidding someone or reminding them to do the good deeds and avoid the sins, like, should be done in a certain way.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And I haven't seen in any cases that have been brought up recently where it was done in the proper way.
Yeah, there's an art to it, if you want to think of it in that way. Like, to advise someone, even the people that are in the comments, like, we've very lightly touched on the topic of hijab. I know that we've had some requests to, like, really dive into it, and maybe we will now that this is coming up. But if you want to advise someone, whether it's man or woman, and you really genuinely care, like, it's bothering you that this person isn't doing something correctly, have some compassion, like, literally, and don't put them on blast on social media. If you want to talk one-on-one, like, I don't know, I can't even think of an example.
What do you mean one-on-one?
Like you know how if a girl posts a picture and maybe her bangs are out but she's wearing a hijab, for someone to comment on the public picture to say, your hair is showing, sis, this is haram. Like, okay, yes, your point is very clear, but do you really think she's probably going to take that from you? No.
Yeah. See, I agree with you, but yeah.
But you know what I mean? Whereas if you tried a different approach, and that's up to you guys to, I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to advise someone because I'm not perfect either, but I'm just saying.
I feel like at the end, like for the most part, everything should be shown through action and less by saying. Like the less you have to say to be able to get a point across, I think the better. So if you just show yourself or present yourself as a really good Muslim and someone might be attracted to following in more of like, I want to emulate what they're doing because I see how it benefits them. I see how much of a good person they are. And if more people start doing that, I feel like you won't have to start going out and forbidding things and doing things because people naturally start to gravitate towards you and your own actions.
You mean like through your character and your kindness and stuff?
Exactly. And I just feel like there aren't enough people upholding those good characters. Yeah. Me, myself, like I'm not saying that I'm a saint here or anything. So because we're not doing that, we're already falling short in the fact that like we're not leading by example.
I mean, the best example is the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yeah, but he's not here, unfortunately. So we have to continue to show, emulate those actions of the Prophet to show other people what the proper way is.
Yeah, that's the point that I was. Oh,
sorry, my bad. I cut you off
I was
there.
agreeing with you in the sense that like he's the best example, and it's our job to try and follow him as best as we can. Exactly. To do like a chain reaction. Yeah. Type of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like that. I think there was that whole story of, is it Malaysia or, is it Malaysia? Sorry, there's one country that's now a Muslim country, but it wasn't conquered by the sword. It was conquered by. It wasn't even conquered. It was the country turned Muslim, or the people of that country became Muslim. I believe it was Malaysia. If I'm wrong, I'll have to find out. Or Singapore, one of those countries where they became Muslim not through conquering, but through seeing the actions of the people they traded with. Wow. And they saw how good these people were, how they treated them, how they never cheated them in any way and were truthful in everything they said. Yeah. And because of that, the people gravitated towards them and ended up becoming Muslim. And enough people became Muslim to the point where the country itself is now known as a Muslim country. So
maybe that is Malaysia.
Yeah, I think it is.
Like I feel like
let me see. My
spidey senses are tingling.
let me Google that real quick.
Well, it is a Muslim country, but
oh, it is? Okay, so I'm gonna say that Malaysia is the that country. If I'm wrong, someone in the comments please let me know, or someone who's listening to this message us about it.
Here we go.
I was interested in Malaysia.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah, there you go. It says Islam was introduced to Malay Peninsula coast by Arabs in 674 CE. Islam was also brought to Malaysia by Arab Muslim and Tamil Indian Muslim traders in the 12th century AD. Wow. So it shows you that you don't have to preach. You don't have to say. You can really just show Islam through your actions. And
what's that saying? Actions speak louder than
exactly.
words?
Literally, actions speak louder than words. Yeah. That's all. and I think that point has been missed by a lot of the sheikhs and the people who are supposed to be representing the best of Islam in Iran at this moment, and a lot of other Muslim countries that currently do similar things to what happened to what's her name? Mahsa Amini.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, when it comes to when people want to focus on their deen, which is great, like may Allah make it easy for you, a lot of times people neglect the character part. Yeah, like they don't focus on their character. And so when you think about it, like there could always, you can learn as much as you want, but if your character doesn't improve and you're just a bad person, like you're just a bad person with knowledge, so
even you don't even have to be a bad person if you're not a warm person, if that makes sense,
or just someone with bad character. I don't know how else to put it, but focus on that character too. Like don't neglect that. You should always strive to be the best version of yourself, and that benefits you in this life and inshallah in the hereafter. So
yeah, and it does go back to sort of what we said last week, or I mentioned last week, where your actions or what you do can affect the experience of other Muslims around you. So if you're not representing Islam properly, it can give a tainted view of what Islam is to other people, because now people who are ignorant to Islam in general, when they see this story, they're like, I knew it. These are what the Muslims really are like. They're trying to speak like they're peaceful people, but look what they're doing in their own Muslim countries. Because we can speak all we want about what Muslims are in this country, where we're not the majority. But when this is happening in a majority Muslim country, they can use those as examples against Muslims and make our lives harder here. So it affects everyone. It's a whole. These actions that are happening in these countries don't only affect the people in that country. It affects all Muslims around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
I totally agree.
I think that's kind of like buttons it up right there. So it shows that you may think this is just a one thing. It doesn't affect anybody, but you don't realize the how this reverberates throughout the whole Muslim world.
Exactly.
In a way.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it can build up.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard out there.
Yeah. But we do have a positive Muslim story.
Do we?
To come out. Yeah. So I saw that one there. Unfortunately, I don't know too much about this story.
Damn,
so you're going to have to.
I was hoping you did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I
didn't listen to the thing.
Me neither. But I've heard a lot about it. So what we're referring to is Adnan Syed is free from jail. He was wrongfully convicted. I don't know, 20 something years ago, I think it was.
Yeah. 24 years ago, I think.
24?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So like I saw the photo of him before he went to jail, and now I'm like, his entire like youth was taken from him. But from what I do know, like I know that there was a crime podcast that kind of first brought his story to light, and that's how it like basically reopened the case. Yeah. But he was like wrongfully accused of killing his girlfriend at the time. And then he was like, there was no evidence against him. Like there were all these things that basically worked in his favor, but for some reason
the prosecutors just didn't present any of that evidence.
Yeah. So
make the judge or even the defense aware that evidence was there.
Crazy. But he is free now, which is like, I always think about it. Like whenever I hear these stories of people being exonerated, is that the word? Exonerated?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, he wasn't exonerated. He wasn't exonerated. But he was given another trial. Oh. But in between that time, between now and that trial, he was set free on bail. Right. Yeah.
But like, when I said exonerated, I was thinking of you never watched that one, right? When They See Us, the 5.
No, I never watched it.
You never watched?
I can't.
Why?
I feel like I'm gonna get too emotional. We already talked about this. Just to keep talking about this.
I really think you should watch it though.
I probably one day.
Okay, fine.
Like years from now. Okay, let's just keep going.
Anyways, what I was gonna say was, when I hear about these types of stories, I always try to think about it like, what if I was wrongfully convicted? Like, and 20 years go by, and you come out into the world again, into civilization. Like, how do you even function? Like, how do you live? Like, your whole entire, like, maybe a third of his life was just taken away from him. He spent it behind bars. And now that he's, free for who knows how long.
Yeah, until his trial,
whenever that may be. Like, how do you, I can only imagine the psychological impact that it can have on a person. Like, I don't know. For me, like, I'm happy for him, and inshallah his trial goes in his favor. Yeah. But, like, I'm not super big into crime podcasts, but now I'm like a little bit intrigued that I just want to listen to this one.
Well, like, the thing that I like about this story specifically is that it kind of shined a light on this issue because this is not only an Adnan Syed situation. It hasn't only happened to him. Like, we have the When They See Us show, like, where it happened to them. Yeah. And this is something that happens every day in the American criminal system. Like, there are people who are always being thrown into jail for life for crimes they didn't commit. And you keep hearing about these cases coming out where people have been jailed for 20, 30, 40 years.
So crazy.
For a crime they were literally just walking down the street. A cop picked them up, said, "Hey, you did it." And they're like, "No, I didn't." And they're like, "Well, you're going to jail." And that's literally how it worked.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And I smell a lawsuit.
And this kind of like brought the Muslim community into it, because there have been, I think, a couple other cases, but this kind of like I've seen a lot more Muslims kind of like make posts about it or pay more attention to it.
I think it's because it was featured on that crime podcast.
Okay, yeah, then that's probably why then. Yeah. But like as long as more communities start to realize that this is not only like a Muslim issue but this is just a general criminal system issue. Like, just it's not, this system is not geared towards anybody who's not white, essentially.
It's extremely flawed, and I think even, you know, the people in the US know this. And it's aside from just being wrongfully convicted for murder, even if you're getting charged for, like, you know, having drugs on you, you get a larger sentence than someone who could have potentially, like, assaulted someone. Yeah. Which is crazy for, like, drugs. Not that I'm condoning drugs, but I'm saying, like, you know, you get caught with a bag of weed and you're in jail for like 13 years compared to, like, assaulting a minor and you're in jail for 5 years. Like, crazy.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be reformed completely. Like, not only the judgment system, or I don't know what you would call it. I think the judgment system, but, like, even the the jailing system in general needs to be reformed, I feel. Like, I feel like it's inhumane how they kind of treat a lot of these prisoners. Of course, they've done horrible things.
Did you see that story that actually just recently came to light? No. I'm going to show you.
But yeah, he's Sean King. Yeah. Let's see, but where is this? So in the case of here, clearly, where is this? In Vaughan? What? Castile Vaughan?
That's his name. This is in Alabama. So this is what he used to look like. Okay. And this is what he looks like in jail now. Isn't that insane? They're literally trying to kill him.
Yeah. See, so it show, like, there's no, the issue is that there's no consequences for abusing the system, for taking advantage of the system, for messing with evidence. Like, the same thing with even cops. Like, that's a whole other thing. Yeah. But a lot of the people who are in this, who have control of the system, who work in the system, have way too much power in their hands, and there's no consequences to their action, even if they're caught red-handed. So what's the incentive for them to stop? There's literally no incentive. Like, what's going to happen to the people who hid all this evidence from the, what's his name? The Adnan Syed trial. Like,
will they be held accountable?
Most likely not. And because of that, there's no incentive for anybody else who might do the same thing in the future to not do it. Because, like, what are they going to... Because the argument usually is like, well, if we go after them, like, most people might not want to work in the system because they feel like they're going to have to walk on eggshells. It's like, then what's wrong with that? It's like, make them feel like you should really want the people who are willing to take that risk. Because it's already bloated to begin with. If you skim it down to the people who are really willing to do the right thing.
But you know what I realized about the American justice system?
Yeah. And it could be the Canadian system too. I don't know.
It's maybe the North American. I don't know.
Yeah, North American system. Yeah.
It's not about what's right is right. It's about who can have the most convincing case. Yeah. That's literally it, which is insane. Yeah. Like, that's like, to me, that's like so scary, because if one of us ever gets wrongfully convicted, it's not about, oh yeah, no, I believe him, he's truthful. It's, do you have a good lawyer that can can sell your case as best as possible?
Yeah, and that's another big issue there, because a lot of people don't have the money to be represented properly, so they have to get a government provided one, and usually those ones have like 200 to 300 cases they're working on at the same time. They literally can spend like 1 or 2 minutes on your case alone. Yeah. They're not going to get all those details. They're not going to be able to give it the attention it needs, which then exacerbates the issue, I guess you could say. And a lot more people end up going to jail that don't need to be in there, or they end up sitting in jail waiting for a trial for something they have never done. Like, there are people who are in jail for years for, like, missing a few traffic tickets.
What?
Yeah.
You can go to jail for
because
that?
if you miss enough traffic tickets, you get a warrant on you. And then if you get thrown in jail for that warrant, if they cut you on that warrant, you get thrown in jail, and no one's paying attention to you there, because no one has any incentive to pay attention to you. You could be sitting in jail for months, years. You lose everything.
That is
like
insane.
Think about it like this. Like, even if they took you off the street, you had a warrant for like missing tickets because you couldn't pay it because maybe you weren't making enough money on your job, or maybe you didn't even know you had that warrant out for you, and you get stopped, you put in jail. Even if you're gone for 1-2 months, is your job going to keep you? No. Now you're in jail. They don't care why you're in jail. They're going to fire you for that.
I don't know about the States, but in Canada, when you apply for a job and you get hired and you're doing the background check, they ask you, if you've been wrongfully convicted.
Exactly.
I mean, if you've been convicted of a crime.
Yeah, even if you haven't been convicted, just that the taint of being in jail is there, and people can find that out, and that's a big issue in a lot of like low income neighborhoods in America, where people who already are like down on their luck, they don't have a lot of money, are finding themselves in cases where like they are thrown in jail maybe wrongfully for something, and because of that they can't afford to be in jail even for a week, let alone a month, 2 months, 3 months. When they get out, they literally are in a worse spot than where they were, which incentivizes them to be like, if I've already had this under my name, I have nowhere to go, I have nothing to gain, like nothing in my life now, why not turn to a life of crime? And that's how you literally are what do you call it? Creating criminals. People who weren't criminals to begin with, you're literally creating them by putting them into the system to begin with, which is ironic.
That's actually very sad.
Yeah, because they end up in jail. Sometimes to survive in jail, they have to make certain deals. They have to work with certain people. And they find themselves in a gang by the time they get out. Especially a lot of young kids who are thrown in jail. I'm going in on this, but there are a lot of young kids who are frisked on the street and they're taken in jail. Maybe they like had weed in their pocket or something like a knife to protect themselves because they're in a hood where they feel unsafe, or maybe a gun because they feel unsafe, and it's there for their own self-protection, and they end up going to jail. And because they're young, they have no one to turn to. Like the only option they have when they're in jail is to join a gang or to at least affiliate themselves with a gang. And once you're affiliated with them, you're kind of done for life.
Double-edged sword right there.
Yeah. And it's just a lot that needs to be reformed. I don't believe it'll ever be. I'm not going to say it will ever be, but until enough people wake up, I don't think anything will change.
Listen, I don't think the prison reform in America anyway, like I really don't see it happening anytime soon.
Yeah, but it's ironic how it literally just requires the people to come together. But I think this is kind of a conspiracy thing, but like the recent movements where politicians have been making the people more divided has made that almost impossible now. Because people are so divided now that they, even if they see that there's something that they can all benefit from, just because like, what do you call it? Just because maybe, let's say the left agrees with it, the right will immediately disagree with it.
Just for the sake of disagreeing
Just for the sake of disagreeing with it.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, and the politicians and whoever, the conservative pundits, and same thing for the left. If the right has like a good point and the left sees that they're going for something, like they might immediately just like push away, say, "Oh no, you guys are like this." What did I say before?
Like
they would immediately dismiss it.
Yeah,
and then someone like on the news or politicians will come up with some way to like make it sound worse than it really is. Yeah, so it helps to be aware of that. Hopefully whoever's listening to this will be more aware of it. And I think as more stories, just to get back to the original point, if more stories come out like this and more people are made aware of these things, hopefully you can get both sides to at least agree that, okay, this is something that's messed up and we need to work on it. I
mean, the good thing about this whole thing is that crime podcasts, crime documentaries are really big. Like I feel like it really became viral even during COVID, especially because what else are people going to do, right? Let's look into crime. So, you know, if the people that are into those things and producing that type of content continue to uncover these types of stories, then you never know. Maybe someone else will be, you know, someone else who was wrongfully convicted will be released.
I hope that they make more crime content, I guess you could call it, in this genre, and kind of stop and do away with like the genres where they kind of almost celebrate like serial killers. I've seen a lot more TV shows and like documentaries made on serial killers to the point where it almost makes them sound cool, or not cool, but like it's almost like glorifying what they did in a way.
The Ted Bundy one, how they had Zac Efron play him, and everyone had like, some people were like, oh my god, Zac is so good looking, but then they're like, why are you like, obviously they picked him because apparently Ted Bundy had like a charming sort of aspect to him, and so they were really trying to be as accurate as possible. But yes, you're right. It did give off that vibe of like you're celebrating.
Yeah, it's
them.
like it's celebrating might not be the right word, but you know what? I think they know what we mean by that. Like
giving them a platform.
Yeah, giving them a platform, and even the families who had victims in their cases are like, we don't like this. Why are you guys doing this? And it's because the money's there, so people are just doing it and ignoring the families. By the way, have you seen what happened with what Zac Efron looks like now?
Yeah.
He looks.
Do you know why?
Like why?
Oh, you know.
He said it's not plastic surgery and it's because of some type of sickness or whatever.
No, okay. So this is what happened. I love Zac Efron, so I know this. No, but I actually just was curious of why his face looked like that. First of all, his name it's not with a K.
Whatever. Okay, I got it.
So he had an accident where he broke his jaw. So I think he worded the way that he worded the statement that he made was very specific. He said it wasn't intentional plastic surgery, meaning he still could have, because he broke his jaw, I'm pretty sure he still had to get some form of plastic surgery to like fix his face. Mm-hmm. Like he literally broke his jaw. Like he fell and hit like a stone fountain or something. And so I think there's still swelling going on. Plus he's just
It's been
aging.
going on for a while though.
Yeah, he broke it like 2 years ago or something like that. And so like until his face can be fully reconstructed properly.
No. Look at this side by side. I'm going to throw it up.
No, that's not the photo.
But he literally, just for the audio listeners, like it literally looks like someone like injected his whole face with Botox. Or not even Botox, like some type of filler? To where his face looks like extremely wide and like it looks like a Ken doll. It's so like artificial in a way.
Because he broke his jaw, Amir.
But like breaking your jaw doesn't do that.
It does when you have to reconfigure the structure of your face. Look. See? Like his mouth is...
But I've never seen anyone who's broken their jaw and their jaw got like 3 times bigger than it used to be.
Because it's swollen.
But it's been swollen for 2 years?
Listen, I don't know, okay? Maybe he had to get filler to try and even out the structure of his face.
But he said he hasn't done anything to it.
No, he said he didn't do it. Like, he was very specific.
Yeah.
It could have, I think he tried to say, like, it wasn't like he intentionally went to go do plastic surgery.
Yeah.
It was unintentional plastic surgery.
Even his nose looks a little bit different. I'm just saying, man.
What? How? Oh,
Look at that. Exactly.
But his nose looked better here than here. Like, why would you change your nose from this to this?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Plastic surgery doesn't always end up being positive.
He's rich, okay? He can afford to get a really good plastic surgeon.
I don't know. But you know what? This is not a gossip page, so, I'll just leave it at that.
Not us talking about Zac Efron's plastic surgery.
I don't know. That was just something I recently saw. I saw it like probably a few months ago, but then it came up recently. It looked even worse. So I was like,
because he was at TIFF, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I put in this point here because I actually had something in mind, but I just wanted to ask you, like, throw it in there for some little positivity in this episode.
Yeah.
What are some random things in your routine that make you extremely happy, like when they go well? Like, I'll give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't wear makeup often, but like whenever I have to wear makeup for whatever the case may be, if everything just like blends nicely, it makes me like, it instantly puts my mood at like 100.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, when I'm making coffee and it's like extra good that morning, I'm like, today's gonna be a good day. Like, what's something in your routine where when it goes well, you're like, oh yeah, my day's like already at like here?
I don't have anything specific like that. For me, it's like as long as everything goes to plan, I'm good.
What's something that, like, if it doesn't go to plan, like, for example, let's say you're leaving to work and you check your GPS and it's just red all the way. Does that like?
Oh yeah, that just makes that literally just ruins the day. Like, if you don't know it, when I work on the other side of the city, it literally takes me some days now. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it was. I think it's because school started. It added like almost 30 minutes to my drive.
So how long?
So before it used to take me like maybe an hour, and now it takes me about an hour and a half to get back from work.
How about going?
It used to take me like 45 minutes. Now it takes me an hour. Yeah. And that's just from the extra volume on the streets. It's really bad. And honestly, the city has a big part to do with it because they just don't know how to choose when to do construction.
They just do it everywhere at the same time.
Yeah. So like they literally destroyed a bridge that connects Scarborough or like East York sort of Scarborough area to downtown.
Oh yeah.
Like this one is a big bridge that's used by millions of people a day, and they're like, we're just gonna get rid of that bridge and we're gonna reconstruct it maybe like soon. And then it's literally been 2 years. Nothing has changed. Like it doesn't even look like they've been started construction. They just destroyed it and left it like that. And it's the most frustrating thing because like that was my that alone added like 15 minutes. It makes no sense to me.
Even today, like when I literally got on, I'm not going to say where I got on the highway, but I got on from my house and I took 2 stops and I exited because it was so bad. I was like, I literally hate this city. I can't. I just can't.
The traffic is something else now. And
I'm over it.
I feel like a lot of us are going to have to like either move. The thing is that like people are saying, oh, then why don't you just move closer, move into the city? Yeah, it's literally like impossible. It's like so with expensive. Food prices going up, gas prices going up, house prices, rent prices. Like nowadays, the control is in the renter's hands, or the landlord's hands.
Yeah.
So like they can abuse that relationship as much as they want, and you're kind of just a victim to whatever they do or helpless to whatever they do. That's so if they wanna, if you get an apartment and they're like, yeah, we want to like break contract and add like $300-400 to the rent. Like they can find some loophole to do that, and you're kind of just screwed. And this happened to a lot of people in the city.
Yeah.
Or like you're getting near the end of your contract, they're like, hey, we're not gonna let you move back in. We're gonna demolish and like do reconstruction, but
they don't give you enough notice?
End up they
don't give you enough notice.
Well, let's say they do give them enough notice, but they do that. You're like, okay, I'll leave. You leave, but they don't actually end up like doing reconstruction, whatever. They just end up bumping up the price by like $1,000 and then renting it out again, which has happened to a lot of people. So, Toronto might be done for unless something happens soon.
Like the Great Recession.
We're already in a recession right now.
Oh yeah, true. We are.
Yeah, we're in like a soft recession.
Yeah, it's about to get worse, I feel like.
No, we're actually doing pretty well in the recession. Like they're kind of managing it pretty well. It's just that it's going to be a longer recession, I feel, because it's not as drastic. It's not as like
as bad as it was
before.
However many years ago.
Exactly. Like before, we kind of like dipped all the way down.
Yeah.
To the point where like the only way to go was up. But now we're kind of like slowly we're going down like the bunny hill of recession mode. So like you don't feel it as much, but you feel it over time.
Right.
And you kind of get used to it, and then it drops again. And you get used to it and it drops again. And then maybe eventually it'll start going up. You don't know. Yeah.
Do you think that's better though? Because it's less of it's not like such a stark
impact? I feel like it's like, it's almost like you're starving, or you're like, you're slowly like restricting someone. What are you like strangling?
It's like you're constantly like hungry, but you're not starving yet.
Yeah, exactly. Which is
that's not a good feeling.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a good feeling at all. And I feel like that's what everybody's kind of sort of have in the back of their mind or in their stomach. They feel like a little bit of like hunger, but not the point where you're starving. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like never ending.
Yeah.
I'd rather just starve for like a couple hours and then have a big feast.
Exactly. Exactly. There's a good analogy for the whole situation.
Literally.
Yeah.
Anything else in your routine that makes you extremely happy or just like makes your day?
No, just as long as like my gym workout goes well. Like if I have a goal that day and I do it, then like as long as I don't have any issues with that workout, like every lift feels nice.
Yeah.
I don't feel tight. I feel like nice and loose or whatever. I'm good. If I finish like early at the gym, that's a big plus. And I get home and I can like cook my food and I get and I don't forget to take the meat out of the freezer. That's a big plus.
You have all these when you get to go to Tim's.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah. I guess when I get to go to Tim's, if I know I haven't like snacked too much, because the thing is that I talk about like calories and control and all that stuff, but like if you put the food in front of me, I have no self control.
Really?
Yeah. Like my mom gave me today like those small not Skittles, M&M packages.
Yeah.
Like the ones you give at like Halloween and stuff. She had 2 of those and a bag of Lay's chips. I was like, why are you doing this to me? I literally in front of her opened one of the M&M packages
Don't
right
tell me
away.
you just went like that.
And just dipped, not dunked. What do you call it again?
Dumped
it.
Or chugged.
And then
you had all of them at once?
Yeah, I had it all at once. Just ate it there. My mom said the exact same thing. And 5 minutes later, I did the same thing to the second package. And like 30 minutes later, I finished a Lay's bag.
Oh, my
I had
gosh.
no self-control at all. So that's why I don't keep things in the house. One big tip there, guys. Don't keep anything. Don't snack in the house, okay?
Or just have healthy snacks like fruits.
Not even. Okay, fruits, okay.
Yeah,
but even fruits, don't go overboard.
No, but like if you're gonna that was my thing. Like for me, I'm like, if I want something sweet, my only option is fruits.
Yeah.
So I'll have the fruit.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well, that's a little positive note. And now back to depression. So the next thing that we want to talk about was, do you guys have plants, right? Here?
No.
Nothing?
We have them outside.
Yeah. And they're doing well.
Yeah, my mom, waters them every once in a while.
Let me tell you, okay?
Yeah.
So I've made my official return to work. I work twice a week now. And so because I'm not at home, those 2 days are actually, they've made a difference. Literally all 11 of my plants in my office are dying.
Why don't you just water them when you get home?
So, okay.
Wait. Okay, so I saw a TikTok video today. Or Instagram. I can't remember where I saw it. But do you name your plants? No, do you?
I mean, I have in the past, but I don't remember their names now.
See, that was a thing. When I saw the video, she's like, name the plant your name.
Why?
Because it's almost like she would say it's like almost like a self-love thing. Like if you name it, if you give it your name, you're more willing to like take care of it because like it's almost like a part of you at that point.
I mean,
you don't feel like that's the case?
No, like I love my plants.
Yeah.
And it's been nice to see a lot of them grow. I got all of them during COVID.
Yeah.
And because I was working from home, they were thriving.
Yeah.
And I knew all of they all have different watering schedules, which is so annoying because then you have to remember, like, you can't just do them all on the same day.
Yeah. Did you get them all at the same time?
No. It was like a slow, gradual build. Like every time I'd go out, I'd come home with a new plant. My parents look at me like, this girl's insane. And so I realized like just this past, like last week, you know what a snake plant is?
No.
What? Yeah, you do. You know the big plant in my office. This is a snake plant.
Oh, is it the one where the branches like wrap around each other?
The ones that stick up straight.
No, what?
Yes, you do. This one.
Oh, maybe I've seen that in your room. I think so. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So this is the most low maintenance plant ever. Okay?
Yeah.
Like you maybe have to water it like every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like 3 of the leaves are just like drooping over and they get like squishy.
Well, like, what is the life cycle of a plant? Like, can it live forever? I guess it technically can.
They can, yeah, as long as you take care of it.
Yeah.
And so, like,
have you been watering it every 2 weeks?
No.
Exactly. I knew it.
But
how do you forget that then?
Because, like I'll look at it like maybe once a week.
Wait, are you setting a schedule?
No, like I know
That's
the
your
schedule.
problem.
No, listen, let me tell you.
Hey guys, I'm a guy, and guys, we offer solutions.
No, let me just
even if y'all don't want it, I'm gonna give y'all a solution, and I feel like I know what side of solution is here.
Let me just explain. So normally I just check it, like you just put your finger in the soil, see if it's still moist, and if it's not, if it's dry, then you know to water it. That's honestly like as easy as it is.
Nah, the rule, what you should do, I learned this at work because I forget a lot of things. Literally, just make it put it on your schedule as an alarm. Like, but you have a Microsoft schedule.
That's true, but I think also because of the change in the season, like especially right now, the air is drier. So like before, it was super humid. I could get away with not watering my snake plant for like 3 weeks, and it was fine. But now, I feel like I have to do it like every week and a half to 2 weeks.
Okay, but like you keep forgetting to do that, right?
Well, now that they're all dying, I'm like paying extra attention, like kind of eyeing them all, like, y'all good?
Yeah. Are they getting better?
Yeah.
Okay, you just have to cut off the dead plants, right? Or the dead leaves.
So I was like trimming them up and like There's this other one called the spider plant, which is ironic because I hate spiders. But those plants are so dramatic. Like the way that the leaves just like droop so dramatically if they're dry.
Yeah.
And then the minute you water them, like maybe an hour later, they become super green and like, yeah, that's the one that I have.
I feel like 11 is a little overboard. Maybe that's your issue. You can't,
have too many.
Yeah, exactly.
But the air quality in my office is so nice. I'm like,
well, at this point, it's too late. It's like a pet. Like you can't just kill it.
I know. I can't kill it.
Yeah. Just put it outside and hope that it finds a new family.
You know what? You should get a plant.
No.
Why not?
I'm never going to get a plant. Like if I ever do get a plant, it's probably going to be when I have a wife who can take care of it.
But I feel like it'll teach you responsibility.
I know responsibility.
Okay, I'm going to get you a plant.
No. Don't, Sara, don't. Where's my slippers? By the way, she said she would get me slippers for my birthday.
They're on their way.
Slippers yet. Okay, I'm just saying. Okay.
They're coming. And then this point was actually yours from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. So I feel like we're ragging on America a lot, but I just want to mention this
Rightfully
one.
so.
You know, we'll end off on this one. I know we talk about a lot of controversial issues today. Hopefully YouTube doesn't suppress our video again. But I don't know if you heard about the Jackson, Mississippi water crisis.
From you.
Well, it's very similar to the, what's the one in Michigan?
The Flint.
Yeah, the Flint, Michigan water crisis.
That memory, guys.
Where essentially the city knew that it had a overburdened and also old and horrible water system, water filtration system, sewage system. Everything just needed to be upgraded at some point, right?
For the entire city?
For the entire city.
Damn.
And they knew that this was an issue. They knew it was going to be...
Sorry.
What?
He's calling. Because we told him to come here.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, hold on. You talk to him real quick. Hello?
What? No phones allowed on the podcast.
Tell him to come here.
Come to my house. Okay?
What?
I can't hear you, but come to my house. How do I put on speaker?
Oh.
Hello? Yeah, we're recording a podcast, man.
Why is she answering then?
What? I know
To tell you to
exactly.
come
Why
here.
did you answer, Sara?
Because then he would
In
have
the middle
been
of
driving
podcast?
around.
Okay, just come to my house.
We're not doing customs.
Oh, okay, we'll come down.
Okay.
Inshallah. Bye-bye.
That's a no.
No, we're coming.
Oh, I thought it was the parents, inshallah.
It'll be fine. Okay, guys?
I thought it was the parents, inshallah.
Okay, but what was I saying? We were talking about something very important here, okay? But
the Flint water system.
Well, okay, so Jackson, Mississippi, they knew that this was an issue. Politicians, they all knew this was an issue, and it was $1 billion issue that needed to be taken care of.
Wait, are we talking about Flint or Jackson?
Jackson.
Oh.
And they knew this had to be taken care of. And the government actually was like, hey, we'll give you guys $75 million to at least get started on the process. And I think the whole thing would have cost them $1 billion in total.
So what is 75?
Or actually, sorry, no, my bad. Before the crisis occurred, it would have cost them $200 million to do this, right? And they knew this was going to be the case. So the government knew this was going to be the case, or the federal government. So they gave them $75 million to at least help them out a bit. And then they can front up the rest of the money from whoever lives in that state, right? That's where taxes go to, right? But the politicians were like, nah, we're just going to use that money for other stuff. And we're going to ignore those people because, the population of that area is 80% black anyways, right? Not saying that this is exactly what they said, but, when the population of a place is majority of black people, the chances of them getting any type of support or funding to help in something that can almost eventually became life-threatening is very unlikely, and that's what happened here. So instead of fixing it, they ignored it, pushed it down the line, and their whole water system kind of just collapsed on itself to the point where they told them, similar to Flint, don't drink the water, don't take showers in the water. You could literally get diseases from using this water out. Yeah, it was a different color, everything.
Oh my God.
Imagine having to live in a city where you can't use any of your water systems for anything. To the point where they couldn't even boil the water because of how dirty it was.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Eventually it got to a level where they could boil it and clean it, but there was a point where it was so bad they couldn't even do that.
Yeah, this point that you made, what does this mean?
Huh? Oh yeah, so I was going to get to that part there, but eventually after about 40 days of this boil water notice, essentially the crisis happened, and eventually they got to a level where they could boil the water. So they told you, okay, you can start boiling your water and using that, because essentially people had to go to a lot of these banks, food banks, and get water bottles from them, right?
And use that for showering.
And use that for everything that you would use water for.
Oh my God.
And these are already like low income neighborhoods. These people don't have the time to be dealing with this.
Right.
And on top of that, to go back to the whole part, like low income people, like they don't have the time to, they have to be working almost constantly.
Right.
But because of this issue, the schools were closed down and they went to online schooling. But if you think about it, a lot of these students don't have access to computers to begin with, because their families can't afford it.
Right.
And the laptops they are given are like not the best. They don't have the best internet at home. A lot of them still use even dial-up to this day. And these parents have to go to work. They can't afford daycare. They expected them to be at school so they could be at work. And now they're expected to have the kids at home while they have to go to work. And in order to do that, they have to go to daycare. But daycare costs money. And this is not money that they have.
What a horrible cycle to be in, honestly.
Yeah. And this is happening. I feel like this can continue to happen throughout America. And it's hitting the people who are the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And like that's the overall issue in North America, is that if you're vulnerable in any way, if you are living paycheck to paycheck, it's almost inevitable that you'll find yourself in a situation where you have almost nowhere to go, and like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, essentially.
To be in that position though, where you have to make that unfortunate decision of, okay, am I going to pay my bills or am I going to feed my kids? Yeah. Like, I can't even imagine. That's actually like, it like makes me really sad, and I have goosebumps even talking about that a first world country, literally probably one of the most, I mean, I don't know about now, but they were once one of the most powerful countries in the entire world, has people living in this type of circumstance.
Yeah, we're a first world country in name, but we have a lot of pockets that look very similar to third world countries. So at that point, you're like, okay, exactly what constitutes us to be like a first world country, right? Like, are we deserving of that label still? If that makes sense. Of course, I feel like we are still to a point deserving of that label, but we're slowly getting to a point where we're not worthy of it as much.
When you say we, you're referring to America,
North
not
America.
Canada. The whole continent.
The whole continent. Like, I feel like Canada is not far behind.
Yeah, that's actually.
Like, look how we treat natives.
Yeah, I was just
natives alone. Like, those are literally, they're living in third world environment, like third world, environments. I guess you could say
they're being treated like second-class citizens.
Yeah, third-class citizens to be. It's honestly so. Or like I would, people, maybe minorities would sometimes feel like they're treated like second-class citizens. So think about how the natives are being treated, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're supposed to be getting support from the government, right? But and all they're doing is making it harder for them to live in their environments, and you see it in their suicide rates. You see it in their their crime rates. You see it in everything. Their
standards,
their education,
of living,
their standard of living. So we're not any better as a country. That's why I'm saying North America in general, because we do, or I feel like I rag on America a lot, but it's almost like throwing rocks at a glass house. Like, we have very similar issues in Canada.
Yeah, I just feel like maybe in the States they're more overt. No, is overt the right term? Like, they're more open about it. They're very like in your face, and you can see it.
It's also a larger population.
Yeah, and then Canada's just a bit more like it's hidden. It's kind of passive.
Yeah, and we're kind of part of, like, because we're not speaking up about it. Well, now we are. We're speaking about it here, but we're almost complicit in it if we don't say anything. I feel like we're complicit if we're not saying anything, because you're benefiting from it, that system.
Because we're benefiting from it?
Like, if you're benefiting from the system, but not acknowledging, like
the privilege that we may have.
The privilege that we have.
Condoning the...
Yeah, and what the cost of that privilege is, then... what was my point? Like, you're
saying that we are... Oh my God, I'm blanking.
Yeah, I blanked on the word. But I think people know what we're trying to get at, right?
Yeah.
Like...
You're trying to say, like, if... Oh my God.
I know, right?
What was the word, Amir?
I don't know. We literally said it earlier.
I wish we could just rewind.
Exactly. But I feel like the listeners and the watchers know what we're talking about.
They're probably shouting it now as
yeah,
well.
exactly.
Like, you said that. Anyways, you guys know what we mean. Anyways, do you have any other points to add to this?
Well, like to get back to the Jackson, Mississippi water crisis. I like it again, similar to the Adnan Syed situation. I hope that with more cases like this coming to light, hopefully before the next city ends up experiencing something like this, we don't know. I personally don't know what that next city is. We can kind of get ahead of that and start like pressuring politicians, not only in America but in Canada, like for the natives to focus on them more and provide them more funding and actually take action when these things are brought to light.
I think people underestimate how much power their voice has. If a lot of people rallied behind this cause for improving the overall like quality of life, there we go, for the natives in Canada, I genuinely believe, and maybe this is me being naive, but I feel like the Canadian government, even if it's Trudeau or Trudeau really, will start to shift his focus on it. If everyone's pressuring him, I think he would. Yeah,
and I was kind of annoyed when, you remember when that whole situation happened with when they're finding the
bodies of all the children,
yeah, which I heard actually that story was kind of like blown out of proportion in a way, where it wasn't kind of like that many bodies found. They found cemeteries in a way, and some of the bodies ended up being children. It wasn't like a mass grave in that you think, when you think mass grave, you think like they just opened a big pit, threw a bunch of bodies in, and then covered it. Right. But they said it was very similar to like cemeteries, if that makes sense. So like they were actually buried for the most part properly or something. But I need to find out. I need to get more information. But I feel like that was kind of some people are kind of, when they look into the facts, it's kind of blown out of proportion. But what I was hoping was that like people were showing the orange flags to show their solidarity with the Native community.
Right.
But it kind of led to nowhere. And now I feel like just having that orange flag at this point is just virtue signaling. Like you're just showing, hey, I'm a good person, I support natives, but you're not doing anything to actually help that community.
Right.
So like, what does it mean if you put up a flag? Like that means nothing if there's no action behind it, because actions do speak louder than words.
Similarly to the Black Lives Matter movement, when everyone was posting that black photo on social media, it's like, post, like it's not really doing anything. Exactly. Like I understand, like, I guess your support is appreciated, but like posting a picture of a black square isn't really going to change the world.
Yeah, or like those, like that hipster coffee shop who puts the Black Lives Matter flag in front of their shop, and then when you go in and you ask them, okay, so what have you done to help support the black community? There's like nothing. Put up a flag. Okay, good for you, bro. He's like, what are you doing?
I mean, on one hand, maybe they're putting it up to show that like
solidarity.
Like you're welcome here, like you're not gonna feel uncomfortable,
But the Black Lives Matter, that was a movement.
Yeah.
If you want to, you can show. I guess you could show solidarity in that way. But
because not everybody,
solidarity is not enough anymore. I feel like it's not enough.
So what do you feel like is the right course of action? Because not everyone has the funds to maybe like donate. Maybe people want to do like not charity work, like community work where they're doing workshops where they're educating the community on the issues, and
that's up to them to figure out, not for us.
No, I was just asking your opinion.
Okay, sorry. I kind of want to tag you, but I'm just saying like
no, I know what you mean though. It is up to them. Like if you're trying to make a difference, like you actually have to brainstorm and put in that work to say like how can my voice help this issue? Yeah,
it's very similar to that whole situation where people who white people, non-people of color, like came up to black people and be like, okay, so like educate me, but then they're like, it's not my job to educate you. Like you should be educating yourself and doing your own work to figure out why we're speaking up and what our issues are, and do what you can to help us, if that makes sense.
I kind of disagree.
What do you mean? So you feel like we should keep educating every single person who comes up to us and ask us, like, I keep saying us, but like even we, like as Africans, I guess, like some people in our own community try to distance ourselves from the Black community in a way, which I feel like is wrong. I feel like we should show some solidarity, or because we do what it's similar to the. I'm going back here again to the Mahsa Amini situation, where that story doesn't only affect people in Iran, but affects the whole Muslim world.
I was going to touch on that. I was going to say,
there you go ahead.
As a hijabi, if someone asks me about Islam, I could say, do your own research. But, you know, I'm not saying that I feel forced to always, like, okay, whether I like it or not, I represent Islam because I'm wearing a hijab and I'm conducting myself as a Muslim, or trying my best to. Yeah. And so it's not like you're Black and you're visibly Black. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you're not someone who's racially ambiguous. And so whether you like it or not, you represent that race. Yeah. If you want to, openly say, yes, I'm Muslim, which you do, then you also now represent that part of you as well. Yeah. So if someone comes up to you and says, hey, Amir, like, I noticed you said you're Muslim, like, and I'm interested in Islam. Yeah. You're telling me to be like, go do your own research then. You'd probably, say a couple of things. That, you know what? I don't feel like you have to be their main source of information, but you can guide them. You can say, here are some quick points. Here are some resources. If you have any questions, let me know.
Okay, if you're willing to do that work. No, I got no time.
I mean, no, I'm not saying like I always have like a pamphlet in my pocket to hand over. Yeah. But if someone asks me a question, like 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to answer it instead of like, if I know the answer, instead of just saying like, oh, good luck. Oh, I was
why would they do that?
I don't know. That scared me.
I know. Okay, guys. People are trying to get into this room now, so we're gonna end up. Yeah, we're gonna end the podcast here.
All right, guys.
You'll have to continue that topic. I feel like we can make a whole topic on like Black issues and stuff. I've done a lot of research on that stuff.
We'll be back on this topic, but we'll see you guys next week.
Oh, you didn't even say it. Make sure to subscribe.
Well, I said in the beginning, but I'll say it at the end.
You can be the 2,000 subscriber.
Give us a thumbs up for this video if you liked our topics. Let us know your thoughts below. For everyone who has been commenting on our videos, I promise I will get to them. I will read them and respond. Thank you guys so much for your constant support. We genuinely appreciate and love every single one of you. It means so much to us. Thank you for everyone who's been writing out this far and who will continue to write out in the future. Subscribe to our channels, Cousin Connection Pod everywhere. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.